Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to try this again. This is like 2.0 from everything that this morning's live was supposed to cover. My internet feed was a little bit funky, and then for some reason, the video got pulled. So I must have ruffled somebody's feathers somewhere with some of the information that we were sending through, but that's okay. That's okay. So we're going to give this a try again to keep you guys all in the loop of what's going on right now, because we have a lot of activity. So a little bit after midnight last night, there was a huge explosion from the sun, and we ended up with about half a dozen massive explosions heading towards Earth all at once. So the sun just kind of went crazy. And for all intents and purposes, it looked like it was unexpected. But those of you who are in the monthly AstroloClass, you knew this was going to be a really hot time, and you knew that we were going to be getting a lot of energy coming in. So it makes sense for all of us. It's just cool when it plays out. And I want to make sure that you guys have all the tools that you need in order to keep yourself centered. I also want you guys to have the awareness that you aren't alone in how you're feeling in some of the things that people are also reporting back. A lot of people are talking about issues of shortness of breath, heaviness in the chest, heart pounding, a little bit of headaches. I've probably had like 6 or 7 people come back and say that they've got some headaches. One that was a little bit different from what I've heard in the reports before was almost like this feeling of like a tingling in the lower region or the lower area of their body. So at the end of this live, I'm going to do a quick thing with all of you to help you sort of center all of this down, because I think we've got a good idea what energy is really getting worked on right now. Anywho, I've got a list. I actually sat and wrote a list. I'm like, oh, there's too much, I'm going to forget. So there's a couple cool things that took place also this week. So a lot of this knowledge is opening up to us as all of this comes out. So we've got this massive sun explosion that's sort of heightening the energy, and that's going to open up different frequencies of available knowledge to all of us. So what I mean by that is when something like that occurs, it also makes it so there's more information out there for people to understand more of. So this week alone, there are reports that came out of people, quantum physicists, who study the way the energy flow around the Earth is and the energy between planets and its galaxy. And what they've proposed is a document explaining that we are all connected in a magnetic tube. So it was really cool to read that research paper and know that some of the information in that paper actually had started back in the 60s, and they're now confirming those details. So again, what we've been talking about for years, that connected energy between us and the alignments of all of the planets and everything universally is really flowing back and forth. And our job is really to decode all of that, which is what we do on this network, and it's what we do in our community. So it's super cool to see that all kind of lighting up. We also, as of yesterday, we've had 1,652 fast radio bursts coming at the Earth, which science really doesn't know what those are. They are totally dumbfounded. These in particular, it's the most that we have received in a period of time ever that has ever been documented. So what science really says is they don't know what it is, if it's from an unknown galaxy, if it's energy from something that's trying to get in touch with us. They don't know. But don't think for one second that these correlations aren't all working together. So we have this massive new energy coming in. We've got this massive energy coming off the sun. We have all these planetary alignments that are explaining to us this knowledge is going to become open to all of us, in the parts of ourselves that we don't quite understand are going to become accessible for us to understand. What I mean by that, and I'm a little bit careful in what I say, because again, they did already cancel my first one from earlier. So what I mean by that is the best way to describe how it happens in the normal, understanding of us. When you're first born, it is said that a newborn is able to see all sorts of different things that once you're 6 months old, your brain shuts off and can no longer see. So they've actually done experiments where they've placed glasses on someone, and one of the eyeglasses was a specific color, like green, and the other one was completely clear. And they have told the person within a week that green will fade and it'll all become clear. And sure enough, after a week, everything was faded and everything was clear again. So when they went back to the doctor and said, this is still a green lens, their brain actually stopped seeing the green because it deemed it as inappropriate, or it deemed it as not important for survival. So your brain is really a mechanism that shuts down all sorts of frequencies around us that we are able to see or tap into. But it says, this isn't important for this person to survive. They paid attention to this the first, 4 weeks or 8 weeks of their life. So it's not going to be something that's important moving forward. So your brain actually shuts that off. What's happening right now is our cells and the energy of who we are opening up to those frequencies again. So because of that, we're getting that available information. We're feeling those shifts. We're feeling all of that take place within the cells of our body. And that is why we're feeling these things more and more. And that's also why the AstroloLife community exists, so that we can be leaders to help people as they're feeling these things to understand what they are, so they don't become lost, think there's something wrong with them, and go in a direction that their soul wasn't necessarily intended to go in, just because they don't have the proper support. So that is one thing that I think is just incredible about all of us, our ability to just be able to be leaders to the community out there. And this is going to keep coming harder, faster, and more frequently. And that's why we've established the community that we have right now. So that's really beautiful, but that's the best way I can kind of describe why we're feeling these things this way now, why they're occurring more often, and why we also now have things coming up scientifically that were unexplained, or maybe were touched upon years ago, but then got tabled, because we are awakening to needing that knowledge. So that knowledge is going to find us. I hope that's clear and it helps for all of you. So I just wanted to explain that to all of you as well. This next week, what we're just receiving with the half a dozen bursts of energy coming off the sun, that is just the beginning. So between now and the end of the month, we are really going to be looking at a lot of firing coming off of that sun. The best thing to do for this particular group of energy coming in is to ground yourself. So I want to take a moment, like I tend to always try and do on any live, to give you guys a technique to help center this energy in, so that you can grab all these frequencies and hone them and not get lost and not feel like you're alone. That was one of the biggest things that I've heard about just talking and just working with people in our community, is they feel like they have such a high level of knowledge in comparison to someone who doesn't, in comparison to someone who is trying to mull through this with a human way of thinking, and they tend to feel lonely. And again, that's why our community is here, because none of us are allowed to feel alone right now. We chose to come down here to be together and to share with one another. So between the AstroloLife community right here on YouTube and then the advanced community over on Patreon, we really are creating a huge foundation for so many as all of this awakens. Okay. So what I want to do next is a little grounding technique. Super simple. It's okay to be that simple. There's so many things out there. It's like, well, you've got to do this and this and this. No, this is simple. We're just going to ground our energy down. But instead of starting from an area within our body, we're actually going to start from above our head. So we're going to start from the cosmic energy. And we're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to pull that energy down through our crown all the way down to our feet. And then once you get all the way down to the feet, I want you to take a moment to just focus in on the bottom of the soles of your feet, and focus in as if the energy is getting warmer and pulsating. See if you can get a feel for that. So take a moment to kind of center yourself wherever you are, and then take a deep breath. And when you do, draw your energy all the way up to that cosmic energy, all the way up into the universe, into the stars, all the way. And then as soon as you grab onto it, take a moment and hold your breath for just a second. Let that energy sort of build. And then breathe out. And as you breathe out, I want you to just picture all of that energy coming down through the crown, all the way down to your feet. Once it gets to your feet, hold your breath. Let that warm up. And then breathe out again. Oh, just in a second, it just totally centers you. It's really cool. So what we did is we drew our energy up. We connected with that cosmic energy. We held our breath. We pulled it down through our body when we breathed out. And then when we reached the bottom of our feet, we held our breath one more time, locked in that energy, and then breathed out into the core of the earth. So those steps can be done in like what? 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and it totally centers in this energy. So please utilize them. It's an absolutely amazing technique right now to keep you nice and balanced and centered as we move through this week. Okay, other than that, I'm super excited about all the Astrology Yoga instructors that have stepped up and are really, really getting geared up to start the official training to be certified in the beginning of next year. So I'm really excited about that. And that's what all of this is about, learning how to work with that connective energy and that plasma in any way, in every way we know how, from breathing it in, from centering ourselves with mudras, from absolutely moving into the positions and just allowing it to flow through us. So I'm really, really excited about that. And again, you guys, we're just awakening to knowledge we already have. This is all nothing new. It is stuff that we've known in our heart for our entire life and what we've been searching through and searching for. This has been written in every belief system that we've ever had about the power and the energy of the stars. And the stories date back to every single belief that's been out there. So we're finally culminating and pulling it from the source. So I love you guys. We're doing awesome. You're not alone. We're all here for you. Comment in the notes. Let me know how you're feeling. And thank you guys. I'm hoping that this feed worked out better and I don't get deleted again. But if I do, I'm resilient. I'll be back. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining me and being patient too.